say her name, say their names, Brianna Taylor. I would say happy Thanksgiving to those who celebrate. I also would like to celebrate and honor the rich traditions and the ancestry of Native Americans, because we all know what they've gone through and they're the best. And God bless. God bless everyone. Happy holidays. I'm grateful for you for listening weekly and watching. And I almost set out today, but I said, you know what? Let me bring Avi on, because he's the best, and we all need some extra breath practice, especially because the holiday season is vamping on up, and yeah, so it's sunny here in Long Island, New York. Everyone's cooking. I baked some awesome pies, apple and pumpkin. What's up? So just waiting for Mr. Avi. Yeah, what are you guys up to? Hope it's not too loud in here. Sometimes it is during the day. I guess while we're waiting for Avi, I could show you the video he sent out that we'll discuss today. Oh, the diaphragm sitting on top of the heart. Hi, Rosanna. That's the diaphragm, and that's the heart. That's crazy. Avi! Yes. Hello.
Got the diaphragm video going. That's talent. I would never have been able to figure out how to put that on this.
You just flipped the screen.
All right. Well, yeah, you're better at this kind of. I barely could figure it out.
Well, you're a woodsman now, Avi.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm a lumberjack who stays at home with the baby all day.
I knew you'd have your hair down, so I let my hair down.
Oh, good. Nice. Actually, I just took my beanie off. I had a beanie on. I was just taking the baby out for a long walk. Yeah, she slept in the stroller, which was nice, unexpected.
How old is she now?
She will be 5 months, December 9th. So
oh my God.
She's getting bigger by the day.
She is, right?
Literally bigger by the day. And yeah, it's been crazy.
Oh, congrats, and happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for joining me on this special day.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was honored to be asked again. It's always a privilege. So thanks for having me.
You know, I call you my Dr. Oz to my Oprah. That's how I feel about our relationship.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. It's funny, you know, I tell a lot of people I work with, especially my private clients, that I don't know any of them in person. I've never met any of the private one-on-one people I work with. Maybe one person. Everyone else from the group sessions, I've actually met most of them in person. There's definitely a handful that I haven't, but like you, Bob, Michael, there's a lot of people that come regularly that I actually had the pleasure of hanging out with and doing breathing or cold, and it's really nice to have that community. It's nice to be able to feel like actually hung out with you, and like you and I would hang out at frequency before the sessions would start, because you would be making that long commute from Long Island,
yeah,
get
right.
to the city super early. I had to like prepare the space, so I would be in the frequency dome early, and we just chit chat. You tell me how you were gonna like take a singing class after, and like I would tell you about my workshops, and like it was nice to have that connection. And it's like moments like that you kind of take for granted at that time, and now you're like, man, I fucking love those mornings. Those mornings were so nice to like be able to chat and like then do a breathing session and have like 2 or 3 regulars and then 2 or 3 random people coming, and then you know go off on my day in the city. And
but the frequency space was so magical. Like
It really was and is.
It was
You
a
know, I'm
dome,
sure.
right?
Yeah, it was a dome. It was almost like kind of reminded me of like a planetarium, but
Yeah.
like almost like a psychedelic planetarium because they knew that there was like an energy sort of like experience happening there. So you go into the dome and you would either sit or lie down, and right above you there'd be this big screen, and depending on who the practitioner was, we could set it up for like visuals, so like space, nature, geometrical patterns, and yeah, then I would lead like a 45-minute breathing session in the dome, and I was
I
there.
knew you were my spirit animal because you played my favorite
Philip
score.
Glass.
I think it was I forget Glass, Philip Glass. You said,
Philip
yeah,
Glass,
Philip
yeah.
Glass. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that was actually Libby's suggestion to play Philip Glass for breathing. She put together this breathing playlist for me. What's up, Adam? What's up, Jackie? So the breathing playlist had some Philip Glass in it, and then oddly enough, one of the people that I used to work with in person was this guy named Colin, who plays piano in Washington Square Park. He's known as like the pianist of Washington Square Park, and he would sometimes come to the frequency breathing or come to some of my stuff, and him and I would work together in the park on Fridays. So one time we did breathing, and I played Philip Glass, and he thought it was really funny because that's what he plays in the park. You know, if you're ever in Manhattan and you're walking around the city, around the West Village, and you got nothing to do on a weekend, and it's a nice day out, go to the park and watch Colin play piano because it's
He's still
incredible.
going?
He's still going. You can
Yeah.
lie underneath his piano and basically allow him to play above you, and it's incredible. I remember, you know, I'd been working with him for like 5 or 6 months, and one day Libby and I were walking through in August, and he asked us to come and watch him play. So we did. We sat and watched him play, and we're like, all right, we're gonna keep walking. He's like, no, like you need to lie under the piano, and we did. And he started playing Philip Glass. And he started talking, and he talks in between while he's playing, and he starts talking about our relationship, like me and him breathing together, and I lost it. I started crying. I need to cry more.
The sound bath, yeah.
It was like waves of sound like washing over you, the way he plays, and the piano itself, and it was incredible. It's one of those like experiences you'll never forget. So yeah, those kinds of moments, you know, it's tough right now because we're not really having all those, but the ones you are having, the ones you have memories of, the ones you'll create in the future, it's good to be thankful for those. You know, it's like just a good time to be appreciative for the stuff we do have these days. You know, always things can be worse. You could always look at it like half glass full or glass half empty. So, you know, the fact that we can do a breathing session still, we're healthy enough to do that. Right. We're healthy enough to go out for a walk, or we're like able to exercise or move. It's good to like just appreciate all that stuff right now. Because you could definitely look at this year as like worst year ever, sucks. And like, of course, we all can still do that, but it's still important. What's up, Ian?
Say hi to Chief. That's my Chief above him.
Nice. Hey, Chief.
Yeah.
It's good to look at, you know, positives too, you know, because you could literally, you know, everyone could look at their life as like, all this shit happened to me, or I'm doing this and I'm making myself feel good, or, you know, you just got to change your perspective if right now it's like a scarcity mindset and you're thinking about all the things you're missing out on, friends, family. I mean, listen, it's tough. Like for some people that aren't around their friends or family right now, you know, appreciate the times that you did get to spend with them. You will see them soon at some point. What's up, Dolce? And just, you know, enjoy, take a moment and be appreciative for what we do have, because we do have a lot. And
and people forget that we started COVID with breath issues, right? So
totally.
So I believe in timing 100%, and your timing to choose this profession couldn't have been better.
Yeah,
the through line has been breath, you know.
It was a good moment. Had I stayed at my corporate gig that I left June of 2018, I would have been let go. They had let go the entire sales team. My boss, who was the East Coast director, who I thought was like Captain America in the company. He was let go. You know, everyone pretty much landed on their feet and found other gigs. But you know, what I did was sell office, like a high-end office water machine for companies like Google, Netflix, Facebook, and they'd have this really cool water machine that was like this communal water machine that was smart, Wi-Fi connected, sustainable, good for the environment. And
Well, that's cool. You were still with an element of water before air.
totally. And it was like, I mean, like, you know, obviously no one's going into the offices. So, so yeah, it's crazy how things changed. And I had a nice time in between leaving that job and doing workshops. I was doing in-person workshops, you know, the breathing and frequency. And then kind of towards the end of last year, I decided I needed to start working on one-on-one work more and corporate work. And it was a good time to make the change because that's what I'm doing primarily now. I don't do workshops in person anymore. I do 2 group breathing sessions a week, which, you know, sometimes there's 5 people, sometimes there's 20. It's really more about like the community and the connection, kind of like what we're doing today. But the stuff that's kept me afloat and, you know, in a position where, you know, I was able to move across the country and able to kind of, you know, continue to pay my bills and stay in good shape financially was the private and the corporate breath work. And that's what I decided to do end of last year. And I started at zilch, not one private client, not one corporate client. And yeah, I was just like, I got to do this. I got to like email companies. I got on LinkedIn. I just started like reaching out to as many people as I could. And I got 1, I got 2. And then eventually, like you said, COVID hit. And it was, you know, really a shitty time, but it also for people that wanted to focus on breathing and how, you know, how it's this thing we do all the time that we don't even realize we're doing. It became good timing. And I noticed. Go ahead.
Well, Chief, my chief who I work with in the Navy, who's on, I tell him all the time, I want to bring breath work to the sailors because they need it. And he's on board with that. I don't know when we're going to do that. So keep your ears and eyes open, but that's coming down the pike. And imagine if our military was like spiritually advanced, like what a world this could be.
Totally. I mean, frontline responders, you know, I'm actually working on a program out here in Utah with emergency. We haven't created anything yet. We're just talking about creating a program for the emergency mountain responders. So the people that are on the mountain that will go and save people from avalanche, from injuries, and just showing them the power of breathing in high stress situations. So oddly and interestingly enough, the box breath, something that we do often in my sessions, and that it's pretty much the most transferable, one of the most transferable breath practices you can do on your own. That was founded by a Navy SEAL. Like that at least was brought to notoriety by a Navy SEAL from Encinitas, California. And he discovered or brought that breathing to popularity for the Navy SEALs or the Marines that he worked with and trained to show them how to calm themselves down in very high stress situations. And we can do that exercise. It's really basic. It's a great way to get control of your breathing. I actually, if I were to lead a workshop and I was to have, let's say you come to the workshop and do an ice bath, what my goal would be for you in the ice bath. A lot of people think, oh, you must do Wim Hof breathing in the ice bath. Well, that's not really the case. You do Wim Hof breathing to prep the body to go into the ice. What you do in the ice bath is a box breath or a slow breathing technique to calm you down, to get yourself into a relaxed state, because the ice in and of itself is high stress. Wim Hof breathing can be a high stress breathing. You need a down-regulated style of breathing to calm you down. Yeah, exactly. Breath control.
That's Chief.
Yeah, it's totally true. And it's one of 2 ways that you can control and access your nervous system. One is by breathing. The second one is by vision. So a great article and a great doctor and neuroscientist that's coming up with a lot of important information right now is Dr. Andrew Huberman. Which I highly recommend his Instagram. He does a ton of content on there and videos and interviews on the nervous system.
Andrew Huberman?
Dr. Andrew Huberman. And he says that our vision and our breathing is the 2 ways that we can access and control our nervous system. So it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Think about watching something stressful, looking at your phone for hours on end. That shining blue light, that stress that you're getting is like a low-level stress.
Right.
Imagine looking at a sunset. Imagine looking, like I live in the mountains now. I see the mountains. I look out in the mountains and these beautiful vistas, horizons of sunlight, mountains. It calms your nervous system down. Looking at something stressful stresses your nervous system out. So your eyes are actually the only part of your brain that are on the outside world. So like every part of your brain is inside your head and in your body. The only part of your brain that's connected to your brain and that accesses your brain and the way it functions is your eyeballs. So your eyeballs, depending on what you allow yourself to see, can have a really big effect on your mood, your energy, your nervous system, you know, all of that. So
yeah, my optometrist said that when because she taught me something similar to that. She said, when I look in your eyes, I can see your brain. I said, oh my God, you know,
yeah,
that's weird.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think about it, but it's the one part of your brain that has evolved to be on the outside, and it's got direct access to your brain because it's a part of your brain. And so if you are looking at things all day long that are stressing you out, you might not think being on a Zoom call or looking at an Excel spreadsheet for 10 hours a day is stressful. It is. That light and that closeness that you have to that. So something he wrote about and talks about often is panoramic view. Panoramic vision or view, or looking at the horizon or a big vista, like we said, sunsets, mountains, the ocean. That is really good for your nervous system. That calms you down. The opposite of that would be looking at something really short in front of you, like really tight in front of your face. Phone, computer, TV, all these things that we think are calming us down. For a lot of people, that, especially for everyone that's working from home these days, if you're working from home for 8-10 hours a day, and then your way to decompress working from home and being on your phone and computer all day is watching something on Netflix or whatever, that's not necessarily going to calm you down. It might, but it also might exacerbate your stress response. So go for a walk. Start your day by taking a morning walk. Look at the sunrise. I mean, we can go super hippy dippy and put your feet into the grass and connect to the earth. Or you could just literally go outside, take a walk, look at the sunrise, look at the sky. That will calm you down. So again, and going back to the ice baths and stress situations, when someone would come to my workshop, if we were lucky enough to do a ice bath outside, it was great because they could look up at the sky, they could look up at a view, and that would give them a calming sensation. Whereas if I was doing it like at a gym, there's 20 people all around them with their phones out taking photos. Yeah. That's stress on stress. So you really need to start to dial that in too, you know, because breathing is an easy way to shift and to relax. But if you're breathing in bed at night to calm yourself down, but you're looking at your phone, you're negating what you're trying to do with the breathing. So in my sessions, you know, whether it's a group or a private, I invite the people that are participating to close their eyes, go inside, relax. Some people don't feel comfortable doing that, so they want to watch. I say there's nothing to see if you're looking at me. Give yourself a break from looking at the screen. Slowly breathe in. Allow yourself to disconnect to that like vision of looking at these screens. And then give yourself that moment, you know? So if you are doing breathing exercises on your own, try to do it with your eyes closed. Try to do it not looking at a screen. Put your phone in the other room. So that way when you're out of the breathing, a lot of times, and I make this mistake all the time, I'll do a breathing on my own where I'll try to calm myself down, and I'll have my phone right next to me. And the moment I'm done with the breathing, I'll just pick up my phone and go right back to that stress place. And it's like that dopamine that you're getting from the phone is powerful. They've made it super appealing. And I see it with my baby. My baby's 4 or 5 months. If I show her the phone, her eyes get glued to it.
Wow. And it's a black hole.
We used to see it all the time in the subway in New York. You know, we'd be on the subway heading out to Brooklyn. What's up, Solomon? And you'd see a parent with a baby or a little like toddler on the subway, and they would put the phone or the iPad in front of the baby, and the baby would it would be like, oh, all of a sudden. And it's just simple things like that. Like, you know, if my baby's fussy and she's getting anxious or worked up or excitable, I just take her out. Like today, she was worked up, she was exhausted. We just took her out for a long walk, By the end of the walk, she was passed out in the stroller, and that was it. We're the same. We need to be outside. If we're inside for 10, 12 hours a day, you just need to get outside. You just need to like give yourself a break from the screens, from being inside, from that air in the house. Get some fresh air, move around a little bit. Even if you're not exercising, just take a nice walk. I used to love Solomon, who just joined. He was staying in New Jersey. I don't know if he's still staying there, but he had these amazing photos from the beaches in New Jersey, and it just looks so calming to be out there on the ocean. I know you're in Long Island too. It's really
I don't
nice,
take
you know?
advantage as I
Most
should.
people
But
that live near the beach don't take advantage. I lived in Miami for a long time, and most people I knew in Miami never went to the beach. But, you know, it's really nice. It's good for you. You know, how many times have you watched a sunset on the beach and gotten mad or been in a bad mood? You just don't, you know, and it's important, you know, especially now because we are so glued to the screens and being inside and, you know, isolation, to have that ability and access. It's good for us, you know, especially after a meal. So tonight we're all probably going to indulge in a really big meal. How we allow our bodies to digest the food better is either slow breathing, activating the rest and digest parasympathetic side, or go for a nice walk. That actually allows yourself to digest the food better. So it's good for you.
can we do a few breaths that someone might do after they eat tonight?
Yeah, totally.
And then following towards the end, I just want to talk about the quick video you sent 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you've been watching. You're interested in the video.
I love anatomy. I do.
So actually, yeah, we'll talk about it after. I did a course in the Netherlands where we went to a lab, and they had sheep lungs and sheep hearts and a trachea, and we breathed into the lungs with our you know, our mouths, so we could breathe air into these, you know, sheep lungs. It was crazy.
Thanks, Chief. Oh wow, you breathe into sheep lungs? That is crazy.
It is crazy. I probably have a video or something, and I'll tag you in my Instagram. Yeah, so when you're on the ship, you'll be moving, and you can just look at the horizon. So if you are in the ship and you're inside for long periods of time, you're getting stressed out, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a sailor, I'm not a Marine, but I imagine there's probably been something where they say, get outside, look up at the horizon, relax. I know when you're seasick, they'll tell you to look at the horizon. That's good for you in general. That's calming. That allows yourself to kind of down regulate and calm yourself down. So everyone, get comfortable. If you're joining now, sit back in your chair or lie down, whatever feels best to you. Again, it's the same with the phone. Don't have to look at me. You just have to hear, close your eyes, relax, and just take a moment here before you do anything to your breathing. If you're like me, you've probably already had quite a bit of coffee today. I talk about coffee a lot in the sessions. Yeah, me too, same here.
Cheers.
So notice, coffee can affect you too. Coffee can up-regulate you. It can up your heartbeat. It can up your blood pressure. It can up your cortisol level, your stress hormone. What it also can do is it can shorten your breathing. It can get your breathing stuck in the chest, stress kind of breathing. It can also make it hard for you to hold your breath, or maybe you're holding your breath more often. So just notice, scan your body right now, check in, notice where you're at. Notice any areas of tension or tightness. Don't judge it or, you know, think too much about it. Just observe it. Just say, oh, you know, I am clenching my jaw. Oh, I am squeezing this pen in my hands, and, you know, I am tight in an area. And now, slowly, take a nice, easy breath in through the nose. Nice and easy, nice and calm. Slow exhale. Take your time. No rush on the exhale. Exhales are how we actually calm down. Let's do it again. Nice and easy, all the way in through the nose. Easy, slow exhale out through the nose. Take your time. Good. Let's do it again. Nice and easy, nice and calm, all the way in. Slowly let it go. And just start to notice, are you getting more relaxed? Is this enough to wind you down? Let's do 2 more. Slowest ones yet. All the way in. Easy, calm, exhale. Letting it go. Good. Last one. Slowest one yet. Pull the air in through the nose, the belly, the ribs. Allow it all to expand and rise. Get to the top of your inhale. Now, let it go as slow as possible and hold at the bottom. And just stay at the bottom for a moment. And scan your body again. Notice any areas of tension. Just feel into it. When your body tells you it's time to breathe again, pull a nice, smooth breath back in through the nose and hum or sigh out the exhale. Let it go. Nice. You never let me down on the sighs, girl. Sighing is really good for us. Humming, sighing, all really good for us. It calms you down. It arouses the parasympathetic side of your nervous system. Also, it creates more nitric oxide. It's good for you. So humming, sighing, all of that stuff is good for you. It also activates your vagus nerve, which again calms you down. Let's go nice and easy all the way in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Easy exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. Notice the tension. Notice the areas that are tight. Exhale, release the tension, calm the body down. That's when the body relaxes. On the exhale, pause at the bottom. Scan again, check in. Easy inhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. Feel satiated, feel that air filling you up. Easy, slow exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Inhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Relax the shoulders. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay with the nose on the inhale and the exhale. In. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Easy exhale. Let it go. Feel yourself dropping, calming down on the exhales. That's when we relax. That's when everything slows down. Good. Pause at the bottom. Scan. Relax. Notice. When the urge to breathe comes up, inhale. 5, 4, 3, five, 3.
Oh, God.
I lost you.
I'm back.
Got you. I don't know if it's
Okay.
mine or yours. Is it my
It was
server?
mine. My phone just went the screen went off. I was like, what? Where did Avi's voice go? And then I'm like, shit.
So that exercise is
Yeah.
it's a combination of a slow, easy inhale and exhale, that 5 in, 5 out that I normally do in sessions. But then you just slightly pause at the top, slightly pause at the bottom. And I like the pauses to just scan and check in. And when you feel yourself full with the air on the inhale and you're pausing, I like to kind of cue into, am I tight? Am I tense? Do my shoulders need to drop? Do I need to relax my neck? And just relax everything on the exhale. That breath cycle is what you should use after a meal. Like,
and is that a 5
calm,
count, I think?
5 in, 5 out. You don't have to pause or hold. I kind of like it just to get into like more of a rhythm. Sometimes people don't like to hold or pause, but I find either way is fine. You can do either way. Do that for 5-10 minutes after a big meal. You activate the parasympathetic side of your nervous system, which is that rest and digest side. There's a reason they call it rest and digest, is because it allows your body's vital organs to go back online, to be functioning at that level that they're supposed to be. If you're on the other side of your nervous system, or you're stressed or tense or worked up, that's not the rest and digest side. That could be another side of your nervous system where you're antsy and you're tense and you're tight. So the initial thought noise that would enter your mind, the initial thought noise that enters with my inhale. So I think sometimes that thought is just going to happen. Just allow it to happen and notice it. That's why I like to count the breaths, because I start to think more about the count, and then I try to translate the count to what my body's doing while I'm breathing. So if I'm inhaling and I'm thinking 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then by like the 5th, 6th time, I'm not even counting anymore. I'm just like, my belly is rising, my ribs are expanding, my chest, and then all of a sudden you become more kind of focused on what your body's movement is. I normally will say, like, never mind the numbers, start to cue in on the physicality of the breath. Like, what is the breath doing inside of you? What is it doing as it's leaving you? What is it doing on that kind of rotation? And you just start to focus on that more. A lot of times, since you're a waterman, you think about the ocean. I always think about ocean, water. I mentioned a lot of my breathing sessions. I think about when I'm doing that 5 in, 5 out, like just the ocean waves coming in and out, like slow, like not choppy or big waves, just easy wave in, easy wave out. Like, you know, I don't know if it's low tide, but it seems like it would be low tide. Just calm in, calm out, and you start to just lose yourself in that breath cycle. So we only did it for a few minutes. Do it for 5 minutes, do it for 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden you were thinking about things, it will start to dissipate. And then if it doesn't go away, you could just amp it up and do a Wim Hof round, and then you really won't be thinking about anything.
And Wim Hof you could find free on the app still?
Free on the app still, though who knows for how long. But you could also come to any of my sessions. I typically do them in my sessions. There's a lot of Wim Hof instructors out there right now that are offering breathing sessions online.
How do people sign up for your session?
So they could go to my website and there's a form on there that they can submit, and I'll just add them to it, or they can DM me on here and just send me their email and I'll add them on the calendar link, or they can hit you up and you just tell me who to add and I'll add them on there. I'm still working on creating a better structure for it. But right now it's been going pretty well. Yeah, you know, I'm down to do these IG lives too.
After dinner tonight, you know, you give yourself 10-20 minutes to digest. Everyone's sitting around watching TV. What do? You go in the other room, you shut the door, put your timer on, sit somewhere. What do you do?
I used to set my phone timer for 5-6 minutes, and I do that 5 in, 5 out lying down. You could go for a walk if you're like really, really full. Sometimes a walk is the best thing. Like after a meal, allow yourself to just move around a little bit. That limits the insulin spike a little bit. It will be easier for you to digest if you're outside and you're breathing and you're relaxing. But yeah, you take 5, you get outside the room. I mean, you know, you could even listen. If you want to even sit there with your family, I've sat in cars full of people and I've done that 5 in, 5 out, and you just kind of check out. And it's a good exercise to kind of see how much can you tune out the noise around you. You know, a lot of times when you breathe and you meditate or you do a workshop, I mean, it's never always the perfect scenario. Like I remember we do the breathing sessions at Frequency, and someone would show up late and start ringing the doorbell. You know, it's just like that's what it is. So like when you do breathing sessions, when you're doing all different types of things, you know, things will pop up. Thoughts, like your captain said, things come up. Hey Sam, what's up, bud? So that's normal. Like when I do group sessions and I'm leading a breathing session, like my baby's crying upstairs. I can hear it. It's just that's life. One time I led a workshop at a gym in Inwood, and there was like a church event happening on the street outside of the workshop, and they had speakers that were as tall as humans, like 6-foot speakers, and there was the minister or the preacher screaming in Spanish. Like it was an evangelical event, I think, and they were screaming and playing music. And I remember we were doing a breathing, and it was summertime. There was no AC in the gym, so I had all the windows open. And someone after the breathing asked me, or in the middle, they said, "Hey, can you turn off that music that you're playing?" I'm like, "That's not my music, man. That's the church music from outside." And that's life, you know. Like you want to have your chill namaste vibes, and like that's not life, you know. We all had great plans for 2020. Like, how's that working out for us? Once you start to realize that a lot of things aren't in your control, things get easier. And then the things that are in your control, how am I breathing? How am I moving? Am I hydrating? Am I sleeping okay? There are things, there are 5 or 6 basic things that we can control, you know. Those are
and the breath really... is, you can follow the breath through your experience. Like if you're vulnerable to your body, you could literally follow the breath. You know what I'm saying? Like it leads you.
Totally. And it's this foundational piece to who you are. So if your breathing is off, or it's slightly dysfunctional, or it's stuck, or your mouth breathing a lot, that's a quick fix. You can do some exercises like this 5 in, 5 out. You can start to implement some minimal changes, and you'll start to see bigger returns, and you'll start to see better mood, better energy, better sleep, more calm. And then also you can use breathing to amp yourself up. It doesn't just have to be this super, we've done it. You know, you don't have to just have this calm, soothing breathing session. You could also do a breathing session right before a workout, right before a run. I mean, I used to go on really cold runs, and I'd do 5 rounds of intense Wim Hof breathing. Then I'd go outside in 15, 20 degree weather and run with no shirt on, you know, and people would think I was nuts, which I probably am on some level.
Can you just, if as a beginner, I'm always a beginner, can you just do a breathing session and go running, or is that dangerous?
So I would always give myself 5-10 minutes after doing like Wim Hof round before I do anything, because you can get lightheaded, you can get a little dizzy. Especially if you're like in winter time and you're like pumping heat in your apartment. I mean, you could get dizzy just sitting around doing nothing in your apartment with the heat pumping and the coffee flowing. So you should always, if you're gonna do something after an intense breathing session, give yourself 5-10 minutes to transition to something else. You know, you don't want to just jump into the next thing. Though, you know, it's not dangerous, but you just want to be aware, you know, like Wim Hof breathing or an intense breathing session, if you're doing holotropic or rebirthing, any of these things are very strong exercises. You know, it's like you never do Wim Hof breathing driving the car, you never do it standing up in line at the supermarket. You've got to be in a really comfortable, gentle place. People do it. People, you know, if you're in the Wim Hof Facebook group, people are doing Wim Hof breathing all over, and they think, you know, they can do it, you know, with influences of drugs in their system or this or that, and it's dangerous. You know,
that's an abuse of power, I think.
Yeah, and you know, it's like Wim Hof breathing is a stressor. It is something that can bring you really up. You don't want to do 2 things at once that are stressors. So I would never. It's not safe to do Wim Hof breathing in an ice bath because you're already in a stressful situation. So 2, you know, you don't want to do 2 things that are like metal on metal. You want to do calming breathing in a high stress situation. If you're out for a run, you're not doing Wim Hof breathing during the run. You're doing calming, relaxing breathing on the run so you can run further and your heart rate can stay lower. You don't want to do a breathing that's going to bring you up and down. You want to stay low and calm and relaxed. So for beginners, you want to just, you know, you want to start calm and gentle with yourself. So download the app, come to, you know, an instructor session, learn the right ways to do it, and then go off and, you know, figure out what works best for you and what's the most beneficial way to do those exercises,
Shall we show people this video here?
Yes, I know you've been waiting to show the video.
It's cool. So that's the heart right on top of the
I
diaphragm
think that's
here?
the heart. Yeah, I think that's the heart. The diaphragm's that M looking thing on the bottom, and that's someone breathing. So oftentimes I talk, and you can kind of see the lungs around it, those big sort of black things that are going up and down as
Right
well.
here.
So oftentimes in the breathing sessions, I will talk about how the diaphragm is sort of like the foundation and supports all the organs. So when you breathe through the diaphragm, you're allowing your organs to move and sort of like get into this flow with the rest of your body. So this diaphragm, if you're not moving your diaphragm when you're breathing, there's a stagnation that's happening. So you really want your diaphragm to be like fluid and moving. Going back to what I mentioned before, when I went to Utrecht to the Netherlands and we were at that medical school. What's up, Nicole? In the medical school, we had these sheep lungs and a sheep heart. And the trachea, which is the windpipe, that's where the air comes in and out. We have the same thing in our body. There's two pipes. There's the esophagus for food and then water, and then there's the trachea for air and wind and whatever. The trachea is what we were using to blow into the lungs. So we were blowing into the lungs of these sheeps, not living sheeps, and literally we would see this deflated lung like this, just like flat, lifeless, and you would blow into it, and all of a sudden it would rise and expand, and it would like torque and twist, and like it would just, you'd see the life. And it reminds me of, I think it's a Sanskrit expression, but a stiff, cold body is closer to death, and a fluid, flexible, bendable, warm body is closer to life, and it's more vibrant. So I think about that oftentimes when I think about these lungs and the diaphragm. You don't want your diaphragm just to go out. Like people breathe a lot of times and they think, oh, well, I'm breathing through my belly. It's just this like Santa Claus, like belly pushing the abdominal wall out. You want to breathe so your diaphragm expands out to the sides, all the way around. It's not just this like up, down, up, down. It's all the way around. It's 360 degrees. It twists, it turns, it torques. So that image, and going back to Andrew Huberman, he's got this great Instagram video of a brain breathing. So it's kind of like the same scan of a brain.
Is that recent or?
It's from a while ago, I think.
Oh, okay.
And the brain, you can message me after this and I'll send it to you. So the brain, when you breathe through your nose, like it was showing how
I found it.
The brain like bounces, like, and this is sped up. This is something that's sped up, but you can actually see the brain bouncing up and down.
Yeah.
Through nasal breathing. So
That's
yeah.
it.
And like if you look in closely, it like, I mean, it's not like this like up, down, up, down. It like moves, and I mean, it's just so interesting how the body really is supposed to move. And
Wow.
this is sped up, but I mean, if you think about breathing through your nose and how much it affects the rest of your body.
That's cool. I'll follow him. I gotta follow him.
So, all right, going back, yeah, he's definitely a good person to follow. What's your chief's name, or?
Christopher Edwards.
Okay,
Chris.
That's it, right? Just NY?
Yes.
Okay, so he mentioned trying the Wim Hof method for 30 seconds in a cold shower. It feels like a cellular readjustment after the stress. So there's definitely a cellular readjustment in the cold. You get a boost of white blood cells, which is the immune activating kind of defense system of your body. So your white blood cells go up in the cold shower. Again, I wouldn't do the breathing of Wim Hof method in the cold shower. You want to do what we were doing before, that 5 in, 5 out, box breath. Your goal would be to get into a really slow nasal breathing flow in cold, because that's high stress, and how you down regulate from high stress is calm breathing. 5 in, 5 out, nasal, box breath, any of that. You could even go Ah, just relax. Yeah, just think of Christina, how she does a nice emphatic sigh. Prior to the cold shower, that's when you would do your Wim Hof breathing, because the the Wim Hof method breathing prepares the body to get into the cold. And that's also a cellular readjustment because you're increasing red blood cells while you do Wim Hof breathing, which is the oxygen carrying blood cells. And you're also getting a boost of mitochondria in Wim Hof breathing. You're also increasing cortisol levels during Wim Hof breathing. So that's stress. The cortisol is your stress hormone. So you don't want stress on stress because the cold is going to be stress initially. You want calm, soothing breathing in the cold so that way you can relax, you can downshift. That's when you really get what's it called? The full benefits of the cold. Yeah. So in the cold, you can start hot too. You don't have to just go right into cold unless you're a beast. Start warm, slowly trickle the water to cold, slow in, slow out through the nose. And if you guys come to the group breathing sessions, I'll talk a little bit about that because I'm doing cold exposure still on my own. There's not really a ton of workshops going on these days, depending on where you are in the country or in the world, though there are people still putting on workshops. So it's definitely worth looking into if you're interested in it. But we'll talk about it, give tips. Like I start my mornings, a lot of mornings, walking out into my front lawn, putting my feet into the grass, and just, feeling cold on my feet. Or finding a cold creek in Utah and jumping in a cold creek or a mountain lake and just hopping in cold water and figuring out how to breathe. Like you could try to go into the cold and be like, I'm going to do this kind of breathing once I get really cold. Not happening. Your body's going to go like that. And your goal is to go in through the nose and out through the nose as slowly, as calmly as possible. And that's how you shift. That's how you actually get control of that experience. And you can actually get into a calm place.
Nice. So in the shower, all through the nose.
At first, you won't be able to. At first, you're going to be, and then all of a sudden, you get control, and you allow that to happen. Don't fight it. Focus on your exhale. Your exhale is how you calm down. That's how you go down. So you just focus on. Then once you get into a rhythm and you get control, then you can go. And you can make it audible. Again, that, sighing, humming, chanting, singing, that all activates the vagus nerve. That all allows you to calm down. So you want to calm down.
Thank you, Avi. You're always the best, okay?
Oh, my favorite. It was always a pleasure. Feel free to reach out if you guys ever want to join the group breathing sessions. And, 2021, I'll be doing workshops again in person for sure. So I'll definitely keep you guys posted. Have a great Thanksgiving. Christina,
thank you. Happy
so
Thanksgiving,
much.
Avi.
My pleasure. Enjoy, everyone. Have a great day. Enjoy your families and friends.
Thank you. Blessings to you, the baby, and Libby.
Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving. Much love.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Margaret, Chief, Avi's friends. I'm scrolling up, but thank you everyone for joining. Happy Thanksgiving. Celebrate Native American heritage. They deserve it. And don't eat too much. Fortunately, Joe, I eat too much every day, but enjoy your pies and cakes and whatever. Happy holidays, love, blessings.